All right, so today I am going to do a test of how efficient my 2022 Ford Lightning Extended Range Platinum Edition can tow our 30-foot 8,500 or 8,800 gross vehicle weight rating Airstream. And I'm going to test the difference between 60 mile an hour and 70 miles an hour. Reasoning for this is we did the 55 mile an hour and it was roughly like 1.2. Obviously that's on a different day, so we'll see what the difference is from 60 to 70. Hopefully that can give us using an EV traveling with a travel trailer what the difference is between 60 and 70 miles an hour. So let's get hooked up and get going. Okay, so how I'm gonna do this test is I'm gonna drive to a place that I can get right on a 4-lane highway that I won't have any stoplights or anything like that, and reset the trip, go a steady 60 mile an hour based on the vehicle, and go 15 miles down the road roughly, and then turn around, come back, park in that same exact spot, see what the efficiency is, do the calculations of how long it will go at 60 mile an hour, and then move on and do the 70 mile an hour test of the same thing. Go roughly 15 miles, same distance as I did with the 60 mile an hour, and come back and see where we're at that point in time, and then make the calculations and see how much more inefficient it is at 70 miles an hour versus 60. All right, let me get to the spot and then we'll get started. Gonna reset the trip here. So we're zeroed out and we're gonna get on this 4-lane highway here. By the end of the on-ramp, I'm gonna try to hit 60 miles an hour, and then I'll drive for 15 miles and then turn around and come back the rest of the way. And then I'll stop over there on the off-ramp, calculate, and then come back over here and reset it for the 70 mile an hour test. I will have my climate on. It is 58 degrees indicated by the truck, and there is a 10 mile an hour wind out of the north, just hitting us from the side. So it's not too bad, especially when you're talking here in the Midwest. 10 mile an hour is pretty normal. So yeah, it'll impact it obviously, but shouldn't impact it too much. All right, we're coming up to the halfway point here. There should be a turnaround up here. Get it to actually zoom in here, or focus, I mean. And then we will just turn around right here and drive the 15 miles back. And we get the sun going back. We'll get back up there to 60 miles an hour. As you can tell, we're at 1 mile per kilowatt hour. With the wind being the way that it is, I would imagine that's what we'll end with, but we will see. We may have some elevation change or something like that may prove me wrong, but we'll find out. Ford is really funny if you ask me, because when you look at the screen in front of you here on the dash, it's 0.9, and then when you look over here, it is 1 mile per kilowatt hour. So yeah, good job Ford. I'm not sure where the difference is, but yeah. All right, so we just finished up with the 30 miles of driving. It's 30.1 to be exact. and we ended with 1 mile per kilowatt hour. So that should be some easy math to figure out. Based upon 131 kilowatt hour battery pack, we should be able to go 131 miles at 60 miles an hour if we're driving under today's conditions, and we're charged at 100%. Okay, so I'm gonna take pictures of all this stuff and then go back to where I started, which is just over there on the other side. And so I can get right on the highway right away, and then I'll reset stuff over there and get back on the highway, and then we'll compare the two and see how much more inefficient it is driving at 70 miles an hour versus 60. So we went 30.1 miles, got 1 mile per kilowatt hour. Looks like 2% is used for the climate, 1% for accessories, and 1% for exterior temperature, which is now down to 55. I'm gonna reset this again and then get back on the highway and do 70 miles an hour. I'm gonna try to hit 70 by the end of the on-ramp, but we'll see make sure it's safe to do that. Not quite, but close. Yep, we did her. All right, well, let's see how this goes. We are coming up to the halfway point at 15 miles. And currently we're at 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Going to turn around here. You guys can see the pretty moon. That looks super cool. Sun's super awesome now. Getting later in the day. All right, let's resume back to 70. Still at 0.8. All right, so we ended same amount of miles, 30.1 at 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So there you have it. We're about, 5 minutes faster and consumed about, 20% more. Okay, so everybody always wants to know, what's the difference between, driving faster? And so that's why I did this test, 60 miles an hour. We got 1 mile per kilowatt hour. And at 70 miles an hour, we got 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So roughly that, puts you 105 miles on this specific vehicle that you can go with that specific trailer under these specific conditions, versus 131 when you're driving 60 miles an hour. Now, everybody, that is even like gasoline vehicles and those sorts of things, they're going to have drop in efficiency too. And so you could use this to calculate, your specific vehicle, if you want to drive slower to save on fuel costs or energy costs. Obviously that is a smart thing to do if you need to do that. If you need to get somewhere faster, just know it's going to cost you, roughly 20% more to do that. And yeah, this was a really fun test. Like, if you guys like this test, definitely let me know. Give us a thumbs up. And this, I will say this, I have towed with electric vehicle for over 10,000 miles, with diesel, with gasoline vehicles, who knows how much, probably 20,000 or more. And not saying that that's a lot, because I know some people have towed more, but it's quite a bit. And this is really the average consumption that I get at these speeds. So I think this is fairly accurate for most situations. Obviously, if you're going into a headwind, you're going to consume a lot more, but this is pretty dang accurate as far as my experience towing. And anyways, let me know what your experience is towing. When you jump up 10 miles an hour, what is the difference between your efficiency, whether it's gasoline, diesel, or an electric vehicle? And yeah, let's talk about it. So if you want me to do this test with the Rivian, let me know, and I will definitely do that, see if it's much different. But yeah, I really had fun doing this one. Thanks for tagging along, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.